And it's really because they aim too low and hit. That's the tragedy, that's the quiet disaster. A man sets a goal he can reach without thinking, without swting, without growing. And then he wonders why he feels empty at the top of that hill. I learned early on, the real purpose of a goal is not the achievement itself. The purpose of a goal is the person you must become in pursuit of it. Because when you set a goal that stretches you, something inside you has to expand. You've got to become bigger on the inside than the obstacle on the outside. When I was a kid working on the farm, I never dreamed I'd be traveling the world. Sharing ideas with people hungry for change. But I remember my mentor, Mr. Shof asking me a simple question. He asked what my goals were. I gave him the usual answers. I want to make a living, pay my bills, keep out of too much trouble. He told me that wasn't enough, that it wouldn't take me anywhere. He explained that my goals needed to be bigger than my problems. And that's what many people miss. They set goals the size of their paycheck, the size of their fear, the size of their neighborhood. They measure their future by what they think is possible today. And so they shrink to fit their doubts, instead of stretch to fit their dreams. But here's what I discovered. If you can pay the price of discipline, if you can push past the comfort zone, if you can set a target just beyond what you think is possible, then every step toward it makes you stronger. That's what a stretch goal does. It doesn't just get you more, it makes you more. See, goals are like MAGNETs. They pull you, they organize your energy, your thinking, your RSORCS. Without them, life is random. But with the wrong kind of goals, little ONES, safe ONES, you end up organized around mediocrity. And that's no prize worth winning. So the question is, what would happen if you raised the bar? What if you asked more of yourself than the world expects? What if you demand progress that scared you a little, that made you look twice in the mirror and wonder if you had it in you? I'll tell you what happens. You find out you're capable of more than you imagine. You discover that your potential is not fixed. It's elastic, and the more you stretch it, the more room there is. That's the adventure of goal setting. Not just to get, but to grow. Not just to accumulate, but to become. That's why I say, don't set goals that just keep you busy. Don't set goals that let you coast. Set goals that stretch you. Goals that make you trade your excuses for excellence. Goals that force you to sharpen your habits. Refine your skills, discipline your apptits. Expand your vision. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become. The trophies gather dust. The money will change hands. But who you are, that's permanent. And who you become is written by the kind of goals you choose. So, how do you set goals that pull you out of the ordinary? How do you create a vision that wakes you up in the morning and keeps you up at night? And how do you make sure those goals don't crush you, but stretch you in just the right way? When I was 25 years old, broke behind on MYPROMACS, living in a small apartment with empty CUPBRDS, I thought I had a money problem. I thought I needed a bigger paycheck, but what I really had was a goals problem. I had never sat down with paper and pen to design a life. I was drifting, and when you drift, you always end up at the wrong shore. That's when Mr. SHOAF said to me, Jim, If you don't set goals, you'll always end up working for someone who did. And I'm telling you, that hit me like a hammer. Because up until then, I thought I was just unlucky. I thought CIRCUMSDNCES controlled me. But the truth was, I hadn't taken charge of my own direction. See, success is not something you pursue. Success is attracted by the person you become. And goals are the mechanism that transforms you into that person. Without goals, your potential just lies there unused. With goals, your potential gets called up piece by piece, day by day. So here's the first foundation. You've got to decide what you want. That sounds simple, but most people never do it. They think about what they don't want. Don't want to be broke, don't want to be overweight, don't want to be lonely. But a list of don'ts is not a life plan. A list of don'ts doesn't inspire you to get out of bed in the morning. You've got to decide clearly and positively what you do want. When I first wrote my goals, I was clumsy. I put down things like make more money. And Mr. SCHOFF said, I need to be specific to stretch my imagination, to write it down in detail. And he always said to not be afraid to want it all. Don't cut the list down to what you think you can have. Put down what you really want. We'll figure out how later. That was a turning point. Because I realized the first stretch is not physical. It's mental. It's stretching your thinking. It's letting your mind go beyond the limits of your current income, your current knowledge, your current surroundings. If you can't see it on paper, you'll never hold it in your hand. Now here's the second foundation. Goals must be balanced. It's not enough to just say you want financial success. What about health? What about family? What about the mind, the spirit, the contribution to the community? If goals are set in only one area, a person might arrive wealthy but sick, or successful in business but lonely at home. A life of achievement must be a life of balance. I wrote down a list in 4 categories. What I wanted to become, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to have, and what I wanted to give. That covered the whole man. Because a goal to earn $1 million is good. But a goal to become generous, enough to give 100 away, that stretches you differently. And that stretch may be the one that changes you the most. And here's the third foundation. Write it down. Don't trust your future to memory. Memory fades, but paper is cheap. A written goal has power. It stares back at you. It confronts you. It reminds you of your commitment. It turns wishes into plans. When I finally sat down, I discovered something remarkable. The act of writing itself made me different. Suddenly, I was no longer just a reactor to life. I was a designer of life. And the man who designs his life lives differently than the man who drifts. So the foundation is simple but strong. Decide what you want. Balance your goals and write them down. That's where the stretch begins. Because the moment you put it on paper, you've declared war on the old you. You've made the decision to no longer accept the limits of yesterday. And that's when the adventure starts. The danger in life is not that we aim too high and miss. The danger is we aim too low and hit. And the second danger is even worse. We aim at nothing and hit it every time. That's where compromise sneaks in. A man convinces himself he'll just get by. Another tells himself settle for only so much. But every time you settle, you shrink your future. I've seen it happen too often. Someone sets out with big ideas. Then life pushes back, and instead of pushing forward, they scale down the dream. They lower the target so they won't miss. But that's like moving the finish line closer. So you can say you ran the race. You get the ribbon. But you didn't get the growth. Mr. Schofield taught me never to wish life were easier, but to focus on becoming better. That's the difference between shrinking and stretching. Shrinking asks how to make life smaller, so it feels manageable. Stretching. It asks how to grow larger, so you can handle more of life. One attitude weakens you, the other strengthens you. Think about a rubber band. Its only use is when it's stretched. Leave it sitting on the desk. It's worthless, but stretch it around something. Now it's useful. That's what goals do to you. They pull you, they test you. They make you valuable, and if you keep stretching, you don't go back to your old size. You stay bigger. So let me ask you, where have you compromised? Where have you accepted less than you're capable of? Did you stop exercising when it got hard? Did you stop reading books when the ideas challenged you? Did you stop selling when you hit rejection? Every compromise is a trade. You gain comfort, but you lose capacity. Now here's the counterintuitive truth. The bigger the goal, the easier it is to stay excited. Small goals don't stir the soul. They don't command your energy. But when you say, I want to double my income, I want to transform my health, I want to become a leader in my field, suddenly you're awake. Suddenly, you've got reason to get out of bed with fire. Big goals create big energy. But you've got to be wise. A goal too big without a plan will crush you. The key is boldness with structure. Dream beyond today. Then break it down into steps you can do today. That way the vision stretches you, but the steps build you. When I first set a goal to be a millionaire, it was ridiculous. I didn't even have enough money to pay my phone bill. But I didn't let that stop me. I told myself that if I wanted a million, I'd better start with $10 saved, then 100, then 1. Each step was believable, each step was possible. But the direction, that was unbelievable. That's what gave it power. See, if you set only what you know you can do, you stay the same. But if you set something beyond what you know, you force yourself to learn, to adapt, to change. That's how you grow into the size of your goal. And growth, that's the real prize. So here's the challenge. Refuse to lower your dreams to fit your present reality. Instead, raise your discipline to meet your future vision. Don't shrink the goal. Stretch the person. Because the goal really for the goal. The goal is for the person. You must become to achieve it. Now let's talk about how to take these stretch goals out of the clouds and put them into your daily life. Because it doesn't matter how inspiring the vision is. If it stays on paper, dreams without discipline are just fantasy. What changes your life is when the big goal shapes your small habits. Here's what I discovered. You don't achieve $1 million dream with $10 habits. You don't build a strong body with weak routines. You don't create a respected reputation with careless behavior. There's a bridge between your vision and your results. And that bridge is built from daily disciplines. When I first wrote down my goals, I got excited. But then I realized the excitement wasn't enough. I needed a system. Mr. Schof taught me not to start with motivation, but with method. He explained that a big goal must be broken into smaller, believable steps. And those steps must be tied to the calendar. What GTS scheduled, GTS done. So I asked myself, what habits belong to a millionaire? What habits belong to a leader? What habits belong to a man who has influence, health and freedom? And then I started practicing those habits while I was still broke, still unknown, still struggling. That was the secret. I didn't wait until I was successful to act successful. I acted successful on the way to success. See, a stretch goal works like gravity in reverse. It pulls you upward. But the way you climb is one rung at a time. Read the book this week, save the money this month. Make the extra call today. Have the difficult conversation now. Each small step doesn't look like much, but it's aligning you with the larger vision. And here's something crucial. Keep score, measure your progress. Write it down, track your habits. Because the human mind loves progress. It loves to see a box checked. $1 saved, a pound lost. A page read, that little win. Gives you the confidence to go for the bigger win. But let me warn you. Discipline is uncomfortable. Growth is inconvenient. It means trading what you want now for what you want most. And most people make that trade. They'd rather have the candy bar than the good health, the evening on the couch than the extra call, the new gadget than the savings account. But here's the truth, every small choice is a vote for the person you're becoming. So if you've got a stretch goal, tie it to daily disciplines. Let the goal dictate your routine. If your goal is to become financially independent, then you must save, you must invest. You must study money. If your goal is to be healthy, then you must eat wisely, exercise regularly, rest properly. If your goal is influence, then you must read, you must listen. You must communicate. Big goals are achieved through small habits, repeated consistently, and those habits change you. Long before the result shows up, you become disciplined before you become wealthy. You become healthy before the body shows it. You become influential before the world knows your name. The becoming always comes before the having. So don't just write down the dream. Write down the disciplines. Tie them to your days. Let your calendar be the mirror of your commitment. Because when you do, the stretch stops being overwhelming. It becomes practical, it becomes possible. And step by step, day by day, the impossible becomes inevitable. If setting goals stretches you, then obstacles test you. Every big dream will be met with resistance. That's not a sign to quit. That's the confirmation you're on the right track. The test is built into the journey. When I was first trying to change my life, it seemed like everything went wrong at once. The bills piled up, the doubts multiplied, and my old habits kept calling me back. I thought maybe the universe was against me. But then I learned the truth. Obstacles aren't sent to stop you. They're sent to strengthen you. They're asking one question. How badly do you want it? Excuses will always be nearby. Too tired, too busy. Too risky, too late. The list is endless, but excuses are nothing but a clever way to avoid responsibility. And every time you give in to an excuse, you give away a little of your future. I had to face this myself. I wanted to be a speaker, but I was shy. I could have just accepted it as my personality. But I knew that excuse would bury my dream. So I forced myself onto the stage. The first time I stumbled, I sweated. I forgot half my talk, but I didn't quit. I knew the only cure for fear was doing the very thing I feared. And every time I did, I grew. That's what a stretch goal demands. Here's the principle: don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish away the obstacle. Develop the strength to overcome it. Because the obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. Now let's talk about SETBACKS. Because they will come, you save money. Then the car breaks down, you lose weight. Then the HOLIDAYS roll around. You build momentum, then someone CRITAS you. But here's the key: a setback is not a stop sign. It's a signal. It's a message to adjust, to learn, to recommit. Most people take a setback as final, but the achiever takes it as feedback. That's why perseverance is so rare and is so valuable. Anyone can start, few can continue. But if you keep going when it's hard, if you push when it's inconvenient, if you hold the vision when the results are slow, that's when the real transformation happens. That's when the stretch pays off. And don't expect applause in the beginning. Your friends may not understand. Your family may not cheer. They may even laugh. They may ask who you think you are. But that's fine. They don't have to see it. You do, because it's not their stretch. It's yours. So the next time an obstacle shows up, don't shrink, retreat. Stand taller, dig deeper. Remind yourself this is the price of admission for the future you want. Because if your goal is big enough, if your dream stretches you enough, no obstacle will be strong enough. And you have to look at the bigger picture here. Because the principle of stretch goals is not confined to business or money. It touches every area of life. And if you want a life of balance, then every area must have its stretch. See, when you spread the stretch across all areas, you avoid the trap of imbalance. You don't become rich but sick, or famous but lonely, or successful but selfish. You become whole, and that's the ultimate achievement. So ask yourself, where am I coasting? Where am I settling for good enough? Because good enough never brings out your best. Only stretch goals do that. And if you stretch in every area, life becomes rich on all sides. Not perfect but rich. Not without struggle but full of meaning. That's the reward of setting goals that touch every corner of your life. The stretch makes you strong in ways you never expected. And the person you become is someone the world needs. There comes a point where information is not enough. Inspiration is not enough. At some point you must decide. Because life doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause. The clock keeps moving, whether you set the goal or not. Most people drift. They let the years slip by waiting for the right time. But the right time never comes. They wait for the economy to improve, for their health to magically return, for their schedule to free up. But waiting is just another name for drifting. And drifting always leads to regret. A man once told me he didn't set big goals because he didn't want to be disappointed. I answered that he was already disappointed, living far below what he could be. And that was the greater loss. Disappointment from trying and failing is temporary. But disappointment from never trying, that's permanent. So here's the dividing line. You either decide to stretch or you decide to shrink. There is no neutral every day. You're either moving closer to your vision or further from it every day. You're either paying the price of discipline or the price of regret. One WIGHS, OUNCES, the other tons. And don't think you have forever. Life is brief. The span of a man's life is short compared to eternity. You don't have time to waste years drifting. If you've got dreams in your heart, set them now. If you've got vision in your mind, write it now. If you've got goals that scare you, chase them now, because later is a trap. Later BCOMES, never. The urgency is real. If not you, who? If not now, when? If not this year, which year? You've got to draw the line and declare. This is it. No more drifting through another season. No more waiting another decade. Goals will be set that stretch you, and you will pursue them with everything you've got. And remember this: you don't need anyone's permission to dream big. You don't need the world to clap before you start. You don't need perfect circumstances. All you need is the courage to begin and the discipline to continue. So I challenge you tonight. Before you sleep, take the time. Write down what you really want. Not what you think you can have. Not what others expect of you. Write what stirs your soul. What scares you a little, what excites you a lot. Put it on paper, commit to it, and let it pull you. Because the difference between a drifting life and a designed life is one decision, one moment where you decide it's enough. One moment where you decide the time is now. That's the power of goals that stretch you. They don't just change your results. They change your destiny. Here's the truth. Life doesn't give us what we want. It gives us what we deserve. And what we deserve is shaped by the standards we set. The goals we pursue, the disciplines we keep. If you want more, you must become more. And the fastest way to become more is to set a goal that stretches you. I started as a farm boy in Idaho. No college degree, no money. No CONS. If you would have seen me at 25, you would not have bet a dime on my future. But one decision turned it around. I took a piece of paper. I wrote down goals that scared me. Goals that lifted me, goals that stretched me. And then I paid the price to pursue them. That decision has made all the difference. And if it worked for me, it can work for you. Not because I'm special, not because I was lucky, but because principles work for anyone who applies them. Discipline WORKS, goals work. Stretch WORKS. But only if you do it, not just hearing about it. Not just agreeing with it. Doing it, sitting down with pen in hand. And writing your intentions clearly. What you want, who you will become. And what you will do. That simple ACT separates the dreamers from the doers. The drifters from the designers. So let me leave you with this. Don't go home tonight unchanged. Don't let this just be another talk. Another idea, another moment of inspiration. Turn it into commitment, turn it into action. Because if you don't, nothing changes. And if nothing changes, nothing improves. But if you do, if you write the goals, if you dare to stretch, if you refuse to shrink, then 5 years from now, you'll look back and hardly recognize yourself. You'll see the wealth, the health, the influence, the relationships, the contribution, and more than all of that, you'll see the person you became, stronger, wiscr greater. The stretch will test you, but it will also reveal you. It will show you what was inside you all along, and that discovery, that becoming, that's the ultimate reward. So the question hangs in the air. Will you drift or will you decide? Will you shrink or will you stretch? The choice is yours, but the time is now.